I don't know. It's pretty smoky. All right, well, Jen hates me right about now.
Yeah, we broke down.
Better than I thought it would. All right, first impressions, Jen. Is it a golf cart?
No, not at all.
It
looks like a golf cart.
As soon as we pulled up to go buy it, she's like, "That's a golf cart. What are we buying that for?" No white smoke out the tailpipe yet. Hey, the smells pretty good. What do you think? She thinks she was gonna be able to push me in reverse. What do you think? Almost, yeah.
I can.
Now,
yes, I can.
You ain't got it. All right, this is gonna be a video on a 2005 Yamaha Rhino 660 I just picked up. Needs some work. It's overheating and blowing white smoke, the guy said, but only does it sometimes. And then it won't go in reverse, he said. Only sometimes it will. Chain popped off. Before we jump to the repairs on this, I decided to be a dummy and go take it out riding. I checked the oil level, topped off the coolant, brought some extra coolant and water with us, and it's riding pretty good. So we're gonna get a little ride in it. It hasn't overheated or ate any coolant yet. Speaking of, let me check it now since we rode a mile or two. No pressure. And yeah, I can see it down in there. And we'll top it off a little bit more. So you can see all that sludge in here too. It definitely has a blown head gasket, but the interesting thing is this guy already had the head gasket done by his mechanic apparently, and then he said he paid $900 parts and labor and it's still overheating and blowing white smoke. So we'll ride it today and fix it tomorrow. Jen's first time driving a UTV. What do you think?
It's fun.
There's the problem. Definitely got a blown head gasket. We rode it for like 5 miles and now it's blowing a cloud out the back. So we're gonna head back. All right, well, Jen hates me right about now.
Yeah, we broke down, so we're walking.
We are walking back to the truck because, yeah, it started blowing that white smoke and it actually hydro-locked the engine and I don't have a spark plug socket. So.
And we went pretty far, too.
Yeah, we went pretty far and it's getting cold and I don't see anybody else around to tow us back. So we'll see where this goes, but don't be a dummy like me, everybody. I warned her we might break down.
No, I asked you if we would break down and you said no, and if we do, it has a winch. We'll just tow it tree by tree by tree.
We made it back to the parking lot and Jen was right. Everybody has left. So we're gonna see if we can get my truck on this trail. That would be the best solution. This is about a mile walk. We ended up getting the truck on the trail and ran into Thurman. He actually broke his... Thurman, that's what it is. Right. What happened? You broke the chain, right?
Yeah, I broke the chain coming up the hill.
Oh, man. And we actually saw him earlier. And sounded like you had some chain problems.
I should have turned around then and come back and tighten it up, but I said, no, I'm gonna ride.
I'm thinking once we get mine loaded up, I'll probably just pull you up that hill, I guess, right? I mean, is that gonna be the...
I just looked down on the flat too.
What's flat, you said?
Yeah.
The tire, you said?
Yeah, my front tire.
I was telling her when we broke down, I'm like, this is enjoying life. This is great because without struggle.
Yeah, for now.
Hey, there you go. Hey, you just said something. Hey, that's been my whole life. But you know what I mean? A lot of people give up. I don't never give up. If I fail, I try again. Another way. Yeah, but I had to come all the way down here. There ain't no money around the house. Before I started up here, I went around here about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, this is where you broke down here, right?
Yeah, the first time. See, I came back and turned, went that way. Then when I come out, I got fucking lost. I kept riding around and around and around in circles.
We got back to her and it ended up firing right up. So I guess maybe it was hydro locked and it leaked back into the cylinder or into the crankcase, but load her up now.
I got a plate for it. Yeah.
Well, that was an exciting first ride. Ended up getting this turd bucket back home safe though, and I'm ready to tear into it. Real quick, some of the reasons I decided to get a Rhino. I was actually riding up in New York at Camerata's place. We did some snowmobiling. He had 2 of these Rhinos, which I remember seeing his video, like, I guess it was 2 years ago. He did a video on buying one of these, and I never thought they were that cool, but then I rode his, and he actually had one with tracks on it, and then the other just had like slightly larger tires than this, and I was absolutely blown away by how it handled and how it took on the snow. The thing was a monster. So I looked him up a little bit. They were selling for like $4,500, and I was like, I ain't spending that. But then this one popped up for $1,600. Well, actually, it popped up for $1,000, and I'm like, oh, that's too cheap. So I offered the guy more, and then we ended up getting it for $1,600 because he had like over 100 messages. It wasn't until I rode Andrews that I had a real appreciation for these things. It's got the little dump bed on it. It's selectable 4-wheel drive with a differential lock. Has these little doors, which I found out later, these are actually an add-on that Yamaha added for safety, because apparently they never came with them, the early ones, and people were like getting their legs ripped off by trees and stuff. And so this is a UTV, utility terrain vehicle, but people actually refer to the Rhino as a DTV, the death terrain vehicle, because this thing is so skinny compared to the newer ones that they're very rollover happy. But the fact that it was skinny is what I really liked, because I can still fit this in a pickup truck bed, and you can get down tight trails and all that. I mean, these things do anywhere from like 40 to 55 miles an hour depending on the mods, but this isn't a speed machine, you know, it's a work machine. And it weighs about 1,100 pounds, has an 8-gallon tank. Looking at it from the outside, it looks kind of lame, but when you get in, you realize, wow, these bucket seats are comfy, nice seating position, and I just had this vision of me and my girl sitting side by side cruising through the woods. I also liked that it's automatic, because I don't like automatic. I've never owned an automatic. At least semi-automatic is nice, but my girl can ride this thing. So while I don't enjoy automatic, she don't like gears. Even with that reverse issue and the head gasket problem, motor could be toasted, I thought it was still a good deal, because it came with a winch on it, 3,000-pound Warren winch, and overall, you know, it doesn't look like it was ever wrecked or crashed. Another reason I picked it up is because I'm thinking about upgrading from my old King Quad. I mean, I brought this up to go riding with him, and this could barely make it up any of the snowy hills. It couldn't use tires, but this machine is just, and it's a rough ride. Of course, this does have independent suspension also, but these old King Quads they're pretty dated. Definitely not selling it though. I love this thing. I paid like $300 for it probably 10 years ago, and tried and true, baby. I'm gonna clean her up before I tear in. I love how easy it is to get to the engine. You just pop each of these bucket seats up, and then the center, I don't know if it usually has something secure in it, but just rip right up on this. Oh, that was easier last time. Here we go. And boom. Easy access to the motor. This thing just fits into my garage. Unlike the newer UTVs would probably be way too big. I do need a bigger garage though. First thing I wanted to look at was the reverse, and I think I got it taken care of. I turned the idle down a little bit right here, and so now I'm in neutral, and I adjusted this linkage on the other side. It was way out of adjustment. So it's neutral, there's reverse, and then there's forward, and then low. Now you can hear this head gasket's so blown. Look at this. Look, it's almost like somebody left the head bolts loose. Well, that's never a good sign. That even looks like a head bolt. Let's check one of these head bolts too. Oh my god, look at that. Hand loose. All right, well that makes sense why the head gasket's blown. Guess I'll pop the valve cover off and check all the head bolts to start. There's actually a brand new head on this too, and look at these rockers, all brand new. Look great. Tiny little timing chain on these things. Let's see if the bolts are loose. Oh my, look at that. Whew. Hand loose. Another one. Holy smokes. So I could probably tighten this down and it would literally run fine, I bet. This underbody's, nothing hangs down, which is really sweet. It's got this heavy duty plastic shield, and then they give you an access port for the oil drain plug too. These hoses actually smell like exhaust inside, and they're just completely slouged up. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. Looks pretty good. I guess I'm gonna pull this piston out too, probably re-ring it and hone it. Look how clean all that carbon has gotten cleaned off by the coolant getting in there. All this RTV from the valve covers made its way down in the engine. The middle journal on this cam's kind of wiped too, if you can see that. So I'll chamfer that out, and the head looks all right. I was glad to see that I don't have any burned edges from riding it with that blown head gasket. Sometimes if you keep riding it, you'll actually melt through this aluminum if you ride it hard. And I didn't know how long he rode it, but the journals, you know, they look all right where the journals sit, the bore's there. But this is a remanned head, so yeah, I'll resurface it and after running that across a piece of glass and emery cloth, looks like I'm not making contact here, but I am on the sleeve. Oh yeah, I can see light under there. Wow, quite a bit. Yeah, it seems the sleeve is sticking up. Decided to pop this carb bowl off and see how the jets look. Had some corrosion on here, so I'm going to clean that up, grease it, but the jets look nice and good. Took the belt cover off too, see if the belt had any bald spots in it. Flat spots, looks good though. Wicked, wow. Underneath this starter motor is like a spot for all this sludge to get trapped, almost rusting through the darn starter. And clean that all out and lube her up. You can see these rubber hoses get pretty swell up from all that oil in the cooling system. And luckily, he gave me some silicone hoses with it, so it'll work good. Oh yeah, yeah, yummy. Tedious, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's making pretty good contact on there. Hit that a few more times and then check it. You can see we're not making full contact over here though, and that's actually looks like where it blew too. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see we got a little bit more to go, but there we go, looks much better. We probably went for about 5 minutes or so, but Full contact everywhere, perfectly flat. Let's put the straight edge on it. Perfect. No light. Looks beautiful. Going on with this shifter. Yes, that'll definitely cause sloppy shifting. You see the difference in those teeth? The water got in there, I guess. Oh yeah, definitely need some new gears. So, I'm sure that's a common problem on these. All right, I'm ready to slap this thing back together tonight. Now, I'm going out on a limb here against my better judgment. I did go on Amazon and order one of these niche top-end kits. I cannot believe how cheap you can get top-end kits for power sports now. It's $170. Comes with the new bolts, gasket kit, piston rings, and a brand new jug that even has their name embossed on it. So reading the reviews, this had horrible reviews. Everybody said, oh, head gasket blew 2 weeks later, the sleeve sunk in it. So this is really a gamble, but I'm actually curious. So this is, I'll let you guys know how it works out. I did put my straight edge across it, and it doesn't, I saw some light in a couple spots, so I'm going to run this. And sure enough, a few sweeps across the glass and emery cloth, I'm making full contact on the side, but not so much back here. So I'm going to hit this a few times. I shouldn't have to do this, but you know what? I've had just tremendous luck throughout my entire life using this method. I'd say we did about 20 strokes, and now I got it to a point where I'm pretty happy. Can't see any light under with the straight edge. And you can really see, like say on this sleeve, for instance, I made full contact, if I can get you a decent angle here, but full contact and took all of the machine marks away. However, over here, I just started making contact with those machine marks. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I might tag it a little bit more, but definitely you can see that was, in my opinion, very necessary to do. Ring end gap's looking good. On the top two rings, spec is 12 to 18 thou. I had 14 thou on the scraper ring. The top ring is actually only 11 thousandths, but I'm going to leave that alone. We'll leave it tight. I think it'll be all right. And then the oil control rings is 8 to 28 thou, and I had 20 thou on those. Without getting too accurate, skirt clearance is dead balls too. We got spec a 2 to 28 10,000ths, and I'm slipping a 2,000ths feeler gauge in there. Can't get a 3 in there at all though, so we're looking good.
Making up his time, where I sit. See, I'm always faster than a Jimmy. If you think I'm a losing time,
Those exhaust gaskets are trashed. I thought I'd just get new ones, but then I forgot, so should have a couple in here that fit though, hopefully. Next night, ready to fire it up. All the silicone has cured. And I forget if I mentioned, but remember that bolt I found down in the valley originally in this video? Well, that actually was a head bolt. One goes right here and one on the back down there. So I only had one of them because obviously the one that fell off the back just went missing. So I was able to actually call that Fun Center Motorsports over in Ben Salem, and he was able to get me one out of the mechanics parts bin, and it was awesome that he hooked me up with that. So, all right, let's give her a crank. By the way, it was Martin over there that helped me out at Fun Center. Let's see, choke her up. Almost. You can really smell all the coolant from the blown head gasket. I guess it's just pools of it sitting in the exhaust. I don't know. It's pretty smoky. Better go take it for a rip now. Seems to run pretty good. Man, this thing is loud though. It's like obnoxiously loud, so I gotta get all these covers back on. Rad fan came on too, so I know that water pump's working good. And all that smoke is cleared out. Be a little tough getting it in here because these wheel wells are actually a lot closer together than the pickup truck bed, and they stick up considerably higher. Oh, luckily I had those ramps tied up. All right, this is the Rhino redemption ride. We're back at the same spot, so we'll see if the head gasket blows again and we have to walk back. See if those Amazon Chinese parts hold up or not. I don't know. Fucking Rhino for the win, come on. She was worried. Motored right over that. Let's check that coolant level. Probably be a good idea. Hey, can you lift that? You know, let me just show this in the video actually. All right, I'll tell you what, I bet, what was that?
A washer.
Oh. All right. Take a look at that later. Thanks for catching that. I bet you can't open this hood yourself. This is a design flaw of the Rhino.
All right,
let's see. Let's see if she can do it.
Okay.
Oh my God! Wow. Hold on. Every time I go to open it, oh, you know what it is? It's because the one latch broke. It's because the one's off now. But before, I would like undo this side and then I'd go to that side, and that other side would be. Well, we're gonna definitely cut that part. Wow. I tell you, you know you have a good vehicle when the factory toolkit is in there. Look at that. Incredible. You know this thing is, well, it's all in there. Look at that. That's incredible.
That awesome. Makes it a good vehicle?
Oh yeah, that means this thing's not a molested piece of junk. Like, it actually has the factory toolkit.
Or it just never got worked on.
Or that, which is a good sign too. And the coolant level. The bottle is full. She's been sitting for a few, so the rad should not be pressurized. A little bit. Oh yeah, it's coming out. Cool, look at that. Not eating any coolant. Good to see. This is my Thurman probe. All right, last test. The last test is the winch. Let's see. This is the hill that Thurman broke down on. It doesn't look like anything on this camera, but it's pretty steep, okay? Let's take my word for it. Let's see if this darn thing breaks. And if she's good for anything. Like that. No. Oh, it almost feels like it's spinning the motor. It's tough. All right, so the winch needs some work. It should unwind a lot easier than that. Oh, that's getting a little looser.
You're doing it. You're doing it, babe. You're doing it.
You want to try and pull this thing? This is just a workout. Like this tree, we'll go. Oh my God, I feel like it's like Jurassic Park right now. I stopped too. There we go.
That didn't sound good.
Alright. It works, but you know what I just realized? Let's not kill the battery.
Or the tree.
Is it bowing?
Yeah, it was shaking.
It's funny, these LED lights, they look so bright, but they're absolutely horrendous. They don't, you can't see 5 feet in front of you. You don't think those dogs are burning?
Yeah, those.
How about the buns?
Buns are still cold.
Units be advised there's a tip kilometer around now.
Sure, but you won't see it.
I don't like it!
I'm trying to spin this out a little bit. Hold on. You can't do that in four-wheel. I think this thing's got, otherwise I know how to get back. It's right here. Well, I think this pretty much covers it for part one of the Rhino. I have a whole list of other things that I want to do to it, and I'll probably do a part two. But let me show you this starting issue it has. So if you just turn the key and crank it, it'll just keep cranking and cranking and cranking, and it never starts, almost like it's not getting spark. But if you blip it, if you go like this, and you immediately turn back, it starts up. So that'll be interesting to find out what's going on with that. It's been very consistent to do that. If you hold the key, it just won't start. Here's a list of the things I'm thinking I'm gonna do. Mount some Bluetooth speakers up on these bars, replace the winch rope, a 48-inch LED light bar, maybe a spotlight mounted somewhere, and also reverse lights, a roof, an interior light, some cup holders, maybe even a little heater inside of here. Like if I get a heater core and I tap into the rad hoses going to the front, I could have a little, because my girl was saying, oh, doesn't this thing got heat? No, it doesn't, but I could easily cut this out and put a little fan in there with a heater core, and that would be cool. Replace the torn CV boots. Actually, this side's not torn, but it's all cattywampus. Gonna add new insulation to the engine cover since it's really noisy riding around. You can see this stuff's pretty deteriorated. Now that I've ridden this a bunch of times, I've been thinking about retorquing the head bolts. However, you gotta pull the valve cover off to really get to them all. So I'm gonna try just one and see if that spins at all. We're at 35 foot-pounds. Nothing, nice and tight. Let's bump it up. So originally I did 38, so let's see. I think they're pretty solid. Yeah, they're tight. I did put Loctite on them too. Despite all the horrible reviews on these niche parts from Amazon, the top end kit, yeah, they're holding up pretty good. So seal of approval on that for now. We'll see how it holds up a month or two from now though. Another mention, if you own one of these Rhinos, I recommend running the tires around 6 PSI. The reason I say that is because the first time I rode it, I was like blown away with how smooth it rode. And then when I did the head gasket, I set all the tires and I bumped them up to 12 PSI. Well, when we took it back out, I was like, man, this thing is riding so rough. So I ended up dropping them back down. You got to use a low pressure gauge like this, but down to 6, and just night and day difference on this particular machine. So I'd say anywhere from 4 to 7 PSI in that range is like optimal ride off-road, especially if you're dealing with a lot of rocks. Still waiting on those new gears for the shift linkage, so I was able to rig the other ones to make them work, but those are still on the way. And yeah, probably a bunch of other stuff too. So if you want to see a part 2, drop me a comment below if you're interested in that, and I'll try and put that together. Also, probably going to be doing a video on this 1978 Columbia commuter me and Jen just picked up. She wanted to do a joint little project. Don't think it's going to need much more than a carburetor clean. It's been sitting in somebody's apartment for, I think, like 10 years, they said. But she looks like she'll run good. Gotta be sick. Of course it stalls out right here. Freaking thing runs perfect for 3 days and stalls out right when I'm at the main road. Come on. Ignition problem, because I blew all the water out of here, pulled the wire off, and messed with this connector, and it fired right back up.